The title of today's lesson is Literal Equations. We're also going to look at mathematical and scientific equations. What you need to understand is when you have an equation, sometimes it's set up to solve for a variable that you don't want. You want to solve for a different variable. So y'all know how in science you learn like distance equals rate over time or something? You know what I mean? So you can rearrange that equation to solve for different parts of it. And so that's what we're going to be looking for today. If there's numbers in the equation, that's fine, but most literal equations are just a bunch of variables. Okay? So you're not going to treat it any differently than you would a normal equation, but we're going to move the variables around. So if you look at the first example, the equation is A minus B times X equals C. What is it asking you to solve for? So what your job is to get the X by itself on one side and put everything else on the other side. So you're going to do everything exactly how we would do it with numbers, but we're not going to need our calculator because we're not going to be able to calculate it. We're just going to move it to the other side by doing the inverse operation. So looking at it, what is on this side with X that I need to get rid of in order for X to be by itself? A and B. Which one is going to go first? A. Why? Because it's the constant. It's not attached to the X. Yes? So how would I zero out an A? Minus A. Whatever I do to the left, I have to do to the right. Now look at the right side. Are there any terms for me to combine it with? No. So I'm simply going to just put it over there as minus A. Notice I'm going to put it out to the side because I can't combine it with C. Now I simplify. That's gone. Are y'all okay? I'm going to bring down the negative bx equals, and I'm going to write C minus A. Are y'all good so far? What am I trying to get by itself? The X. So the highlighting really just helps you see what you're trying to do. I'm trying to get X by itself. So to get X by itself, how am I going to get rid of this negative B? How is it attached to the X? By multiplication. So what is the opposite? So I need to divide both sides by negative B. Now I have to divide the entire side by negative B. That cancels out because negative B divided by negative B is positive 1. And 1 times X is X. Is X now by itself? So I have X equals C minus A over negative B. And I'm done. It's not bad. It really isn't bad. You just have to remember, what am I trying to do? We could have solved this exact equation for a different variable, and it's going to look different, okay? So what you need to remember is, what am I trying to get by itself, and how do I do it? It's the inverse operation, okay? So let's look at the same equation. Y'all see that they're the exact same, yes? But this time, instead of solving for X, we're going to solve for B. So highlight the B. All right, I want to get the B by itself, so what's got to go? A and X. How am I going to get rid of the A? Subtract A from both sides. There's nothing for me to combine it with on the right, so I'm just going to stick it over there out to the side by itself. I am left with negative B times X equals C minus A. Are we okay? Now, what am I trying to get by itself? So what's got to go? Tell me, there's two things that have to go. The negative sign and the X. Can I divide the whole thing by negative X? What's a negative divided by a negative? So could I divide by negative, and that would cancel the negative out, yes? Could I also divide by X, and that will cancel the X out? Are y'all with me? So would B be by itself if I do this? Yes. Whatever I do to the left, I have to do to the right. So I got to divide this whole thing, not just one of them. If I divide the whole left by whatever, I have to divide the whole right by that same thing. So the whole thing has to be divided by negative x. This cancels out, this x and this negative cancel out, and I'm left with b equals c minus a over negative x. Okay, the next one, what are you trying to solve for? P, highlight it. I'm going to see if y'all can figure this one out. Take a second to think about it. You don't have to go do it on your own, but think about what would your step be? What's got to go? Okay, so what do y'all think? What needs to go? The Q, X. It's a whole term. Do y'all agree? So if I want to get rid of the entire term, how would I get rid of a plus QX? Minus QX. Whatever I do to the left, I have to do to the right. There's nothing for me to combine it with, so I'm just going to put it out to the side. That's gone. I am left with P equals R minus QX. Is P by itself. So I'm done. Why was I able to do that in one step? Because this QX was an entire term together, and I could get rid of it all at once. Are we okay? All right, let's look at the next one. What am I solving for? Okay, so what's got to go? P and Q. They're not the same term, right? So that means I'm going to have two steps to get rid of it. I'm going to get rid of the P first because it's a constant. How am I going to get a zero out this P? Minus P. Whatever I do to the left, I got to do to the right. I am left with QX equals R minus P. And I'm trying to get what by itself? The X. That's why I highlighted it. How am I going to get rid of the Q? How is it attached to the X? Multiplication. So what's the opposite? Divide. So I got to divide the left by Q. If I divide the left by Q, I have to divide the entire right by Q. And I am left with X equals R minus P all divided by Q. Any questions so far? Do y'all understand what I'm doing? Yes? Okay, good. All right, now this next formula is a mathematical formula. Does anybody know what this formula is? I learned it in 6th grade, I think. Area of a triangle. This is area equals 1/2 base times height. So why would I want to rearrange this equation? What if I had the area and I had the height and I want to solve for the B, the base? I could rearrange the formula and it would tell me what I need to do. Yes? So highlight the B because that's what we want to get by itself. Are y'all ready? All right, the B is on the right side. What is with the B? An H and a half. So we're going to deal with the H first. Okay? How can I get rid of a multiply by H? Divide by H. So I have area divided by H equals 1/2 times B. Here's my B. I want to get B by itself. Okay. Now to get B by itself, what do I have to get rid of? The 1/2. So yes, it's attached by multiplication, so I should divide. Yes? But we learned the other day we can't divide by fractions. We have to multiply by their reciprocal. So I go like this, times 2 over 1. It's going to cancel out. But if I do the right times 2 over 1, I have to multiply the left by 2 over 1. I'm left with, multiply straight across, 2 times a is 2a over 1 times h is h, and that is equal to b. Okay, I'm going to let y'all try this one on your own. It's going to look real similar to this one. Did y'all get the first step right? Yes? Then how are you going to get rid of the 1/2? Divide by 1/2, but we can't divide by fractions, so we multiply by their reciprocal. That cancels out, and I'm left with 2a over b equals h. Y'all okay? This next formula is the formula for converting between Fahrenheit and Celsius. So it says to find Celsius, y'all know what Fahrenheit and Celsius is, right? Temperature. It says to convert to Celsius, take 5/9, multiply it by the Fahrenheit minus 32 degrees. Are y'all good? We want to rearrange this formula and solve for F, Fahrenheit. All right, so here we go. What's the first thing I have to deal with? Parentheses. So I'm going to take my C, I'm going to put equals, and I'm going to multiply 5/9 times F is 5/9 F. Minus, and I do need my calculator for this because I need to do 5/9 times 32. 5/9 times 32 is, actually, no, I'm not even going to do that. I'm sorry. Something way easier. I don't need to do distributive property first. What am I solving for? So this whole side is being multiplied by 5/9, isn't it? So can I get rid of the 5/9? Since the whole thing is being multiplied by that, can I divide by 5/9? Which is the same as multiplying by its reciprocal, right? So I can multiply by 9/5, and that will cancel the 5 and the 9 out. And I will multiply the left by 9/5. So I end up with 9/5 C equals F minus 32. Can I take the parentheses off now? Yes, because there's nothing to distribute. Now the only reason I was able to do that is because this entire thing was being multiplied by everything over on the right. Okay? All right, what am I solving for? So how am I going to get rid of the minus 32? Plus 32. Can I combine these? No. Do y'all agree? You cannot combine a C with a regular number. So I just have 9/5 C plus 32 is equal to F, Fahrenheit. Okay, skip this one. It has a typo in it. It's not even the right formula. All right, let's go to the back. This is the volume of BH over 3, and third BH, a cone. This is the formula for volume of a cone. Okay? So they want you to take the formula for volume of a cone and solve for B. All right, so I'm solving for B. All right, so what is on the same side as B that's got to go? 3, and which one should I get rid of first? The 3. What's the opposite of divide by 3? Multiply by 3. Whatever I do to the left, I have to do to the right. So I go like this. I have 3V equals BH. Okay, what am I solving for? B. So how am I going to get rid of the H? Divide by H. I am left with 3V over H equals B. So if I want to have the volume of a cone and I want to solve for big B, I would do 3 times volume divided by the height. Okay, y'all do this one on your own. Check your answer with mine. How are we doing on this? If you'll highlight what you're looking for, it really does make it easier because you remember what you need to do. Okay? This next formula, we've been using this a lot. What formula is this for? Perimeter of a rectangle. 2 times length plus 2 times width. What are they wanting us to solve for? The length. We're solving for L, the length. Okay, if I want to get the L by itself, I need to get rid of this 2 and this 2W. Which one's going to have to go first? Huh? The 2W. Why not this one? This is the coefficient to what we're getting by itself. The coefficient always goes last of what you're getting rid of, okay? All right, so I want to get rid of this 2W. How do I get rid of and zero out an entire 2W? Minus 2W. Whatever I do to the right, I got to do to the left. So, can I combine these? Nope, so I just write them together. P minus 2W. Could I put negative 2W plus P? Yes, same thing. Equals 2 times L. I'm going to put a capital L so it doesn't look like a 1. What am I trying to get by itself? L. So how do I get rid of the coefficient 2? divide by 2. Do I have to divide this entire side by 2? Yes. And I'm done. Now I just need to write it out. P minus 2W, all divided by 2, is equal to the length. Okay, y'all are going to do this one on your own. This time you're solving for W. Trying to get W by itself. So I'm going to divide both sides by 2. So I have P minus 2L over 2 equals W. This next formula, do y'all remember it from 7th grade? I feel like y'all did it. It's interest. Interest equals principal times rate times time. It's not important y'all know the formulas, which is what it is, okay? All right, what are we solving for? P. Now you can do this one all in one step. Why? P is being multiplied by R and it is one term, yes? So if it's being multiplied by R and T, to get rid of R and T, can I just simply divide both sides by R and T? So I have I over R and T is equal to P. Now y'all try this one. It's pretty much the same thing, except this time you're getting R by itself. You're going to do it the exact same way. You should have gotten I divided by PT is equal to R. Yes? Okay, this next formula, I should have everybody sitting up and paying attention. This next formula is what formula? Does anybody remember? Circumference of a circle is equal to 2 pi r. They want you to solve for r. Is it one term, all being multiplied together? So that means you can get rid of it all at once by dividing. So what do I need to divide by? 2 pi. So I have circumference divided by 2 pi is equal to r, which is the radius. And I'm going to be honest, I don't know what this formula is for. Does anybody in here? I don't either. But it's for something. But we're going to solve for m. M is being multiplied by a, so to get rid of a, what am I going to do? Divide by a. Whatever I do to the right, I have to do to the left. So F divided by a equals m. Now, these next two are the ones that we're going to be doing the entire year. It is super important that you understand how to do these two. And I'll tell y'all why. This is a linear equation, we haven't learned this yet, and called what's called standard form. We are constantly going to be rearranging linear equations to slope-intercept form. And we're going to actually focus on this lesson tomorrow. Okay, but what are we solving for? A. I want y'all to try to do the first step on your own, just the first step. Check and see if you did what I did. Did you add by to both sides? Okay, so you have ax equals c plus by. Now again, it doesn't matter if you put c plus by or by plus c. It's the same thing. Now what am I trying to solve for? Do the next step without me. How did we do? Yes or no? Catching on? Check your work with mine. And we're going to do the last one. What are we going to solve for? Y. Okay, do the first step without me. You've got to get rid of the ax first. Check and see if you did the same thing I did. Now go get rid of the negative b. So on the front, you're simply solving for the variable it specifies. Use your highlighter. It will help you. So on number 1, you are solving for t. So all you're going to do is divide both sides by 7. Now, I don't want you leaving your final answer like this. That's not a final answer. You need to write out t equals x over 7 and box or circle it in. So make it look nice. Okay, flip to the back. When you get to 19, 20, and 21, you are going to have 2 questions. The first question says write in, and the second part says what? So they're going to have 2 answers each. So let's go set up number 19 together, and then you'll do the rest on your own. Okay? It says 5 more than a number g. Remember, when we don't know a number, we call it x, but they wanted us to call this one g. So how would I write 5 more than g? 5 plus g is fine. Is. What does is mean in math? Equals. 6 less than. Stop. What did we learn about less than? They have to swap spots. So this is not going to be 6 minus. It's going to be something minus 6. Yes? So what is going to go in front of the minus sign? Twice a number h. 2h minus 6. Remember, because this switched spots with this. Are y'all good with that? So this and this swap spots. So that is your first answer. That's your equation. Now what does it say to do? Solve for g. So I'm going to come over here and put 5 plus g equals 2h minus 6, and I'm going to highlight the g because I am solving for g. What is with the g that's got to go to get it by itself? How do I get rid of a constant 5? Now stop and look over here. Is there something that can be combined with 5, or do I need to stick it out to the side? This 6, so minus 5. I'm going to put them right together, and I'm going to say g equals 2h, and then I'm going to combine these. What is negative 6 minus 5? So I could put plus negative 11, or I could put minus 11. So here's my equation. Here is my answer solved for g. It is still an equation. It is just expressed in terms of g. Yes? All right. You may start.